So, today, welcome. Today, we're going to be talking about weight loss, massive weight loss, 140-pound weight loss. Rena's a patient of ours. She's going to give us 5 hacks on how she did that. Now, why are we talking about that? We're a cardiovascular disease prevention program, right? What's the connection? Well, that'll become a lot clearer. People that need to lose that much weight die early from cardiovascular disease. That's the connection. This is a fight for life. This is not about looking good in your swimsuit. This isn't about looking good in skinny jeans. This is a struggle for survival, a struggle against death. It's not a nice to have, it's a must have. So, in Rena's case, she was focused on diabetes, and rightly so, because diabetes is what's causing heart attack, stroke. If you've ever been on our channel, you've heard us talk about it. Number one cause of kidney disease, blindness, heart attack, stroke, dementia. Now, think about it. This might not be you, but don't tell me that you don't know anyone that's struggled with their weight. So many of us have. The connection between unhealthy weight and cardiovascular disease and death is undeniable. A 2023 study in The Lancet paints a sobering picture. Severely overweight individuals, think 100 pounds and beyond, these individuals face a 4 times increase in the risk of premature death. 4x increased premature death compared to those with healthy weight. So, again, we're talking heart attacks, strokes, the constant shadow of type 2 diabetes, all directly linked to excess weight. And here's the thing, these aren't just statistics, these are people. They represent lives cut short, dreams unfulfilled, families left with heartbreak. It sort of makes this dietary tribalism that we hear so often seem a little bit trivial. Oh, well, I'm paleo, they're carnivore, they're vegan. Let's get beyond that. There's another side to this story, one of hope and empowerment. This same study showed that losing even a fraction of weight can significantly improve health outcomes. For example, research on gastric bypass demonstrated a 32% reduction in death for patients who underwent the procedure. This evidence and others highlights the immense impact even moderate weight loss can have on your cardiovascular health. Even smaller lifestyle changes can pack a punch. Studies show that increasing physical activity, embracing mindful eating, even things like that can significantly reduce the risk of diabetes and heart disease, offering further evidence that positive change is possible, regardless of your starting point. Now let's talk to Rena. Jesus, you want to get us started?
Absolutely, but I'm gonna go a little bit on a tangent for a few minutes, just a few minutes, because we have a second guest with us today before we go to Rena, and I hopefully gonna click the right button. Let me introduce you to Tracy. Tracy is one of the core teammates at the PrevMed team, and we would like you to know her and know that if you decide to come on board and talk with Dr. Brewer, the providers on the PrevMed team, Tracy is the one you're going to be talking to, and she's going to give you a brief overview on what to expect if you decide to call us and that we can return. Tracy?
Jesus, I think we're having an audio problem from your side.
Oh,
We were going
let
through that this
let me
morning.
let me go on
That's why
mute
that's
and
still
let
happening.
Tracy continue.
So I'll just clarify for those that didn't hear it. What Jesus was trying to say is Tracy works in our shop. It's like a word from our sponsor. Tracy's going to talk for a minute about for folks that come in how you can make your experience a little bit easier getting started with us. So Tracy, take it away.
Okay. Thanks, guys. What I can say, I want you to think about your health needs before you decide if you're going to make an appointment. Think about what you need, and just know that when you call us, that we're going to do our best to find the right care plan that will help you meet your health goals and those health needs. Know that we're going to support you. Because everyone's going to have different levels of computer ability. The admin team will do our very best to make your process and completing your health history forms, uploading any past health data as easy as possible. So no panic. We're going to work through it. Don't let that keep you from achieving a better life. I can also offer a great tip. And one of the things, since we're newly connected, that happens is emails get sent to spam. So when you're initially reaching out with us, look in both boxes. Check your new mail, check your spam boxes. And what's new? It's February, right? So it's Heart Health Month. And what a better time that we can bring out our newly expanded care plans, which are really exciting. We now have health coaching. That's just going to expand on what you can expect from us. Know that the patients are going to get personalized guidance. We're going to help you create healthy habits, and you can expect clear plans for nutrition, exercise, stress, and sleep management. So you can't beat what's coming. What your opportunities are with us will make a tremendous difference, and we're going to work and do our best to help you get there.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.
Okay. Gosh, we have got so much echo in background. I'm not sure what's going on. For those of you who are listening, I hope you're not hearing it as badly as we are. Tracy, thank you so much for what you do. It's coming to see us is different from several different reasons. Number one, we have a different approach than most docs. Number two, it's totally telemedicine. And that throws a lot of folks. They just haven't done that before. And you do such a great job at helping them get coordinated, get geared up with Zoom, some of those other things that just makes it a little bit different.
Yeah, little hand holding goes a long way. We're here to do that. No worries.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you all. Have a great show.
Go, Tracy. Thank you.
Thanks.
Now, let's go and introduce now our guest, Rena. You saw her briefly because I pressed the wrong button, of course, as I do. But this is Rena, and I'm gonna show her on the screen right now. And Rena, will you like to give us a brief introduction to yourself and tell us your story?
Hi. Thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate this. I have been an overweight child. I grew up overweight. Food was a very big component in my family. I was comforted from it. And then I discovered I had, metabolic issues, PCOS. I didn't know that till much later in life, but I knew I was packing on pounds. And when I hit 15, I put on 50 pounds in 1 year, and I couldn't have told you why. And I was working, and I was surviving, and I was trying to be as active as I could without knowing why things were happening. I was on every diet you can imagine. I even had bariatric surgery in 92, and that dropped me from 293 to 207. And within 3 to 4 years, I was back to 290 because they were telling me to eat 11 servings of carbs a day. And I was doing it. I'm not going to put all the blame on the outside world. I probably overate. I was hungry all the time. But that was my life. And I wasn't focused. I was on active denial. I had one point had an A1C of 12 and just couldn't see it. And then I needed implants in my mouth. And the doctor said, you got to get your A1C below 7.4. And that was in November of 2019. And I called my endocrinologist, who shoved me full of insulin and metformin and anything else she gave me, Januvia and the rest of it. And I then spent time researching. So I went, oh, I'm shoving insulin into my cells, demanding that they take more sugar. That doesn't make sense. And I discovered keto. So Januvia got me from 293 to 240 comfortably, and I stayed there for years. And then I retired and I started doing some research. So you asked me, the 5 things that I feel are important. And part of that was that I had to learn what was actually happening with my body. I needed to understand what metabolic syndrome was. I needed to understand what diabetes actually was doing, the mechanism of it. Insulin resistance. Wow, that was a big one. So in the beginning, I tracked everything. I followed everybody. I had Carb Manager. I had, this app and that app, and I learned what foods were. And then in January of 2020, I said, okay, I'm going to spend January, February, March getting rid of my different carbs every month. So every month I took a category and got rid of them. By April 15th, I said, okay, I'm starting. And by the end of June or July, I actually had to give up all fruit because I'm a foodaholic. And if I have food, I don't just eat 3 or 4 berries. I eat the entire container. So I started researching and experimenting on myself, which are items number 3 and number 2, because you got to know what you can do. You got to know what your body is doing, because you're going to hear a whole bunch of people talking about do this, do that, do this. And, that's selling points. They have to do that, I guess. I was going to follow my own path. I don't call myself a ketovore. I don't call myself a carnivore. I'm simply Rena. I eat predominantly meat. I love vegetables. If I'm in the mood for vegetables, I eat vegetables. I do not eat fruit. And my current A1C is 5.2, and it used to be 8.3. And I'm not proud to say that at one point it was even 12. So I think the medicines that I had while I was diabetic and denying it saved my life. But I feel like I've actively taken a role in saving my life now. And that brings me to my first most important rule, is that you really just have to love yourself, and you've got to put yourself first. If you don't, anyone else can tell you what to do, and you hear them, but you don't do it. And you start slowly, and you forgive yourself. You forgive yourself. I can't tell you how many times I thought I could be normal again and bring in some keto ice cream. And then I discovered, the whole container is going to be eaten in one sitting. So you don't bring that into the house anymore.
Yeah. So Rena, let me interject a little bit. I appreciate the introduction. You basically give the whole show away. But that's great, because I think we have that issue where, I'm going to go to this YouTube live. I don't have a full hour to hear all they want to say. Just go to the point. And you bring it over on a very good summary. And I think when Dr. Brewer suggested, hey, let's bring Rena to the show, you do have a compelling story that a lot of people can get familiar with it. And for those who are wondering why Dr. Brewer is not on the screen, I did not take him out. He was having some issues with his camera, and he warned us at the beginning, hey, I might be having some issues with my camera, so we have Jeannie here. Jeannie will bring out some questions to Rena as we move on. We're trying to do this a casual conversation that is useful for you, the viewer, to see first that you're not alone. There's a lot of people that are dealing with obesity issues that can impact your life permanently. Yeah. But we also have a great example on Rena that there's a way to go out of it. There's a journey to follow. And we did a little bit of clickbait on the title, 5 hacks to lose 140 pounds, which is what Rena did. And she briefly went over those, but I would like to start with the very first one. So,
Okay.
very first hack that Rena has for us: learn everything about metabolism, diabetes, insulin resistance, and metabolic syndrome. Can you tell us a little bit more why is that important? What did you found on learning about this that helped you lose those 140 pounds?
I really came from a place of thinking that medical conditions were meant to be controlled, meant to be managed. I never had any other opinion of it. It was just that's what it was.
Hi, Dr. Brewer.
Hi. So I started to look up what is metabolic resistance and insulin resistance. And I went, oh my God, I've got 11 of the 11 symptoms. I had full beard and mustache, and I had the acanthosis nigricans. So that was a darkening of the skin. I had the ones on your arms that I can't think of at the moment.
The skin patches.
Yeah, it was horrible. The other ones, whatever they are. And then fatigue and exhaustion and thirst and constant hunger and food on the brain. So I started to, the key defining moment for me was when I truly, truly understood the purpose of insulin. When I saw the purpose of insulin and understood I'm a former teacher, 6th grade teacher, so I give a lot of examples to students. So I have to do that in my own head for myself. And I realized exactly what I had said. Adding insulin to my body to lower the diabetes was telling the insulin to knock on the door of the cell and say, I don't care that you're overstuffed. Open up anyway. I'm shoving more in. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. So I stopped and I started doing keto. And it just, within 2 weeks of my starting, I was no longer hungry. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. I didn't know about fat adaptation at the time, but obviously I was starting to go into ketosis and I was becoming fat adapted. So you got to know what it is that's affecting your body. And especially when I heard Dr. Brewer saying to me, or one of your podcasts, you said, I hope it was you, diabetes, and then you have diabetes 2 is heart condition, diabetes 3 is dementia. And I'm like, oh my God, I see that connection. And I said, I've got to stop. I am 65 years old. I am a female. I currently weigh 150 pounds. I was 293.
And I'm going to show some pictures of it now that you're talking about it.
Sure. I am one of those people that overshare because I believe anyone can get anything out of anybody's story. So if this helps you, go for it. And yay to you. Yay to you.
And can you tell us a little bit more about these pictures?
Yes.
What was your life on the picture on the left? What is your life right now on the picture on the right? Most
of my life, up until the year that I turned 62, was spent in survival mode. I'm just going to briefly mention that I had a somewhat troubling childhood, nothing probably out of the ordinary. I had Holocaust survivor parents who believed in placating everything with food. And then I had dysfunctional brothers. And it was a normal 50s, 60s family. It was sad, but it was what it was. So me at 2007, I was 293. Again, that's my son that I adopted. And I was tired. I was tired all the time. My God, I was tired. And then I was on 16 meds, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high this, high that. It was a mess. And then 3 years later, well, not 3 years from 2007, but from 2020, I got down to 154 in that picture. These also.
Another love, and I asked Rena, "Hey, are you okay? We sharing this picture? This is your son."
Yes.
And we were talking about motivation. And Dr. Brewer said at the beginning, it's not about the swimsuit. Sometimes also it's about the people you love and being there for the people you love. So this is a clear example of that, right?
Yes. My son has severe autism, and he has to live in a group home. And what I did when he first had to be placed, he was 9, and I was still very large. I was still over 250 at that time. I thought, thank God, because I didn't think I was going to live very long. I didn't think I would live. So he had a place where he could be. And then when I started the keto, I said, oh, I plan on living to 147 and a half. And my son is going to benefit from it. And so that's it. That's him in the older child now. He's going to be 19 on the 25th of February. And
he grew and you shrank.
And the best part is, oh my God, this is so vain. My son weighs 157 and I weigh 150. And I'm like, yay me. I've never weighed less than someone. I don't remember 150 on my way up. So this is a whole new world. It's a whole new world. So that's learn everything. My doctor would say to me, you still need to eat carbs. And I would say, okay. And I'd leave and I would not eat carbs.
Not touch them.
No. And then I started looking for people online that were willing to take people as patients. I found Dr. Saives. Can I mention other?
Sure.
Okay. I found Dr. Robert Saives, the carb addiction doctor, because I thought I was a carb addict. It turns out I'm not. I'm a food addict. And yes, I don't care if it's real or not. I know it is. I cannot if I make a pound of chili, I will eat it all that day. So I make,
that makes two of us, Rena.
You know what? That makes about 150 million of us, because I've heard that from a lot of my friends, and I'm okay with that now. And that's why number one has to be throughout all of it, the love and put yourself first. You really have to want the best. You really have to say, I'm worth it. And I was lucky enough to sort of believe it at the time and followed through with it. So then I moved to tracking everything, if you want me to go straight to that.
Sure.
Okay, so then I started tracking everything because...
just to clear out, first hack for Arena was learn everything about metabolism, diabetes, insulin resistance. Second one, if you're taking notes, track everything, at least at first. Yeah. So I'll let you continue, Rena.
Thank you. You got to know what you're really eating. I read every label. Oh my God, I learned about the tricks between no added sugar. That doesn't mean there's no sugar in it. It just means they didn't add any. And you learn all the words for sugar. So you start avoiding all the words for sugar. So it was fascinating to track everything at first and learn what it felt to be full. That was a real key. And I never felt that before. So that was kind of weird to learn what it feels to be full. That took a good year. Keto.
Help me with that, Rena. So you're basically saying, I may have had sensations, but I just didn't interpret them as being full. Is that what you were saying? Is that what you meant?
I knew what ghrelin felt like. I knew grumbling in my stomach, but I couldn't tell you that I was eating because I was hungry, ever. I now know what hunger is. Well, actually, I don't, because I don't have any more ghrelin, or I'm just never hungry.
Mm.
It's all mental hunger. So there's a constant, I hear you. You don't need it. You'll be fine. You're not hungry. Something else I learned, you need an emotional outlet. So I get an I created effort-based management things. I get hungry. That means I need a break. Go clean the kitchen. Okay, now I'm watching TV. I get hungry. Well, I think I'm hungry. I go do a puzzle for 20 minutes. I go talk to a friend for 20 minutes. I go for a walk for 20 minutes. I hate it because my knee-jerk reaction is, well, it's not going to hurt if you just have a couple of chickaroonies, a slice of cheese. But you know what? You got to change your thinking. Food is fuel. It's not a reward. And let me tell you, you got friends and they all want to go out to eat, and you're like, okay, but you get your eggs. You get your eggs and olives. You get bacon. You just protect yourself. I had someone actually say, two acquaintances of mine, who actually said to me when we were celebrating their birthday, said to me, you can have a little bit. It's not going to hurt you. And my answer was, would you offer tequila to an alcoholic?
Mm-hmm.
What was their response when you asked that?
They were not pleased.
Oh, really?
I've learned to not care. I love them. I'm an alcoholic, but without alcohol.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like alcohol. I don't drink, but food. I had a friend who bought me, she couldn't think of what to buy me for a birthday present. I said, you can get me a Lily's keto chocolate bar. I thought that would satisfy her. And I love her. I love her to death. She bought me, like, from Amazon, 25 bars. And the first thing out of my mouth was, I can't go home with 25 bars of chocolate. I'll eat them in the car before I get home. So I arranged for them to be elsewhere. And I take one, maybe once every 2 weeks, because I will eat the whole chocolate. I will not eat a piece. I've given myself some leeway. So you got to track everything. And never, ever, in my opinion, I was eating with a fat head, because I'm still a fat person. I have to eat up to this many macros, and I have to eat up to this many calories, and I have to eat up. No, you don't. That's how I used to think. So again, Dr. Sivas gave me the term fat head. So I started eating till I was full. And then in the beginning, I would say, okay, I'm hungry an hour later. You may have another teaspoon of meat or fish or an olive or some pickles. In the beginning, support yourself. You're hungry, do it. And then it became less needful. And then you introduced me to Ozempic. And that took away the hunger, even thinking about the hunger. And I was able to do it for, I think I stayed on it for like 3 to 4 months. And things quieted. So I chose to stop taking it. I'm got a lot of pride. I want to do things on my own. It can be a deficit. But yeah, so the third one is the research, and you've got to include electrolyte research on this, because I'm telling you, the minute I saw what my body needed, and then I had all the proper tests done, and I learned how to interpret all my test results, I increased my electrolytes, and boom, sleeping at night, calmed down, no body cramps, no issues. It was amazing. So electrolytes are yay. I'm all for electrolytes.
Hack number 3.
That was number
Electrolytes?
3. Yeah. Research
Watching
it
your
and learn
electrolytes.
electrolytes. Yeah. The self-experimentation, I think I love my self-experimentation because again, through Dr. Brewer, I got a CGM and I started wearing it. They are not reliable. They will not tell you what your actual blood glucose is, but they trend for you. It took me a long time to learn that. And what I noticed is when it would go up and I would jot down what it is that caused it. I never understood why when I exercised it would go up, but Dr. Brewer, you told me not to worry about that. So I didn't. You know, you find people like I said, for number 3, you got to research. If you're not a researcher, which I was not, I did not know researching, find someone you are willing to follow. And Dr. Brewer, there's Dr. Taubes, Mark Hyman, excuse me, I'm cheating on my teacher notes here. There's Dr. Noakes, there's Dr. Westman, there's Dr. Ekberg, there's Dr. Saives, and of course, Dr. Fung. The ones who would do the clickbaity type of keto stuff, I understand the need for it. I understand the market. I'm not going to, I watch them. They're interesting, but I don't want to watch you making the keto version of the Big Mac. I'm a foodaholic. I don't want a keto version of cake. I don't want a keto version of cookies. I'm in a new lifestyle. I don't want food as a reward. I don't want food to soothe me. I'm lying to you, obviously. I want food to soothe me. It was better. Eating food was better than anything in this world. I'm not doing that anymore. I am living now. I'm not living to eat. So the self-experimentation I watched, and my last one with you sent me the CGM the last couple of months, was to test every single artificial sweetener. Tested every single one, with meals, without meals. Yes, I've become a little black and white when it comes to my research. I'm a teacher. We delve, you do these things. And I saw I was having no reactions with any of them. So I said, I'm not going to worry about that anymore. And I indulge. My one indulgence a day: Coca-Cola, Coke Zero, cherry. I drink it. I have to be done by noon, because if I'm not, I'm awake all night. But I keep it by my bedside.
You're on mute, Dr. Brewer.
If Jesus can ever get this video out that we're working on, Jesus and Nathan, I talk about the same thing. I am a cherry Coke Zero addict, and I keep struggling to get that limit down. And I'll do okay for about a month, and then I'll say, oh, you know what? I can have one. I can have a little bit more. And that's like an alcoholic saying, I can have one.
There you go.
I can tell you, and it's pretty real. I was a Diet Coke addict, and my wife took care of that by not allowing it on the house.
Okay.
So, props to my wife.
Well, there is a natural thing. Okay, I can't say this as a generalization. What happened to me and what I've heard others report, my taste buds have changed radically. I was a Hellmann's mayonnaise. I was a Heinz ketchup girl. I have memories of being 3 years old and going to family visits and bringing my own bottle of ketchup with me. I don't like mayonnaise anymore. I don't care what you make it out of. I don't like ketchup anymore. I don't use hardly any sauces. Sorry. My taste buds want purity now. When I eat a salad, and I will, romaine lettuce. I can't do cucumbers right now. I'm allergic because my body has to make up its mind. But I can do the peppers, and I can do some mushrooms in it, a little bit of onion in it. I'll use my little tomatoes, olive oil and some vinegar, and my taste buds just explode. Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
Brussels sprouts. I'm eating Brussels sprouts with butter, and I'm like, these are delicious. Brussels sprouts? So your taste buds change a lot. So that's something that was quite shocking, but not in a bad way. I'm also open to a lot of new things, so I'm kind of experimental that way.
Wonderful.
And then, go, because I can talk forever.
I need to interject real quick. So let me just summarize for the public who's watching the video. First one, learn everything about metabolism. 2, track everything at least at first. 3, do some research, follow the guys who know about this stuff, and
electrolytes.
Replenish with electrolytes. 4th, self-experimentation. That includes the CGM. So before we go to the 5th, which Rena already mentioned at the beginning of the video for those who don't want to hear the full thing, let me go through 2 things. One that is going to be a segue. A lot of patients that come to see Dr. Brewer, Jeannie, and the PrevMed team already went through a lot from this journey. I don't recall what was your weight when you started going to Dr. Brewer, but you already have lost a lot of weight by that point. So a lot of patients from Dr. Brewer, like you viewers right now, if you're new to the channel, you have seen a lot of the other folks that Rena mentioned. You already know some, maybe even more than your traditional doctor. But I'm gonna make a quick segue, and then I'm gonna go back with the latest hack from Rena. We gather with a lot of those folks who watch the channel and want to learn the extra mile, want to learn more of the stuff that they're not finding on the YouTube channel. So if you are one of those guys, let me show you this real quick. So we have an upcoming event on Dallas, Texas, April the 18th to the 20th. Call 859-721-1414. We have the option for you to watch the conference with exclusive content that you won't see on the YouTube channel. We have a lot of examples of success histories, just like Rena's. You will also have the opportunity to get your labs done before the event, and even to get a CIMT, a carotid intima media thickness test, the less invasive, more reliable way to find if you have soft plaque that doesn't involve injecting stuff on your vein or having a CT scan. So if you are interested on becoming a success case, just like Rena's case, learning more or finding out what else that you're missing, that you need to do to achieve your health goals, call, and we will see you there in Dallas. Jeannie, Dr. Brewer, and I will be there. So thank you for allowing me to go into that segue. Let's go to your latest hack.
Can I ask a question really quick?
Yeah.
Okay, electrolytes. Which electrolytes were you? Tell us a little bit about those and which ones you were looking at.
I am now on Perfect Keto, the capsules.
Okay.
Because I need ease. I don't like the flavor of the Gatorade type ones, and I'm not poo-pooing them.
Mm-hmm.
Element and the rest of them, they're wonderful. But the Perfect Keto Balance, I take 3 in the morning, 2 in the night, and the next day it'll be 2 in the morning, 3 at night. Just because I am bored sometimes. So I do those things. So, but yeah, they potassium and magnesium, calcium, phosphorus. I don't know what else is in them, because I learn for me. I don't learn to keep the information to share, which is really kind of scary, but I'm 65 and I'm tired, so that's just what happens.
And so then you get your labs checked every so often and just pay attention to that.
If it was up to me, I would have my lab checked every day. So I'm very grateful that I have doctors that tell me no. But yes, my lab numbers are beautiful. I'm currently having a little debate about the fact that my kidney is going just a tad above the green line, but I've been assured by people, lots of people, not to panic. So I'm not, because panic doesn't do any good. I'm learning about that stuff so I can combat that if I need to.
So you're talking about like your GFR? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm actually my creatinine,
Okay.
but it's gone. When I take a look at it through my entire past, it's gone very down, very, very down. So my problem was the ADA is still saying 5.4 to 6.4 is pre-diabetes. And so when the Kidney Foundation says, don't bother us until your creatinine is 1.5, I'm like, have you met the American Diabetes Association? I don't necessarily believe that. So no, I'm not waiting till there might be damage. Yeah, sorry. But I've learned more and I'm learning more and I will take care of it.
And does that happen? Do you notice when your creatinine is up, maybe you're more dehydrated, not drinking as much water?
No. It only I drink between 40 to 60 ounces of liquid a day.
Okay.
So I am not, and the food I eat has a lot of liquid in it. It's meat, it's good stuff. So I'm not worried. I'm just keeping an eye on it.
Good.
And I'm getting older. So apparently Dr. Brewer likes to point that out frequently. But I am. So, things are going to change. I have a familial history of heart conditions. My brother is in the hospital right now getting an angiogram with an enlarged heart. My father died of heart condition. My middle brother, David, died of diabetes that went undiagnosed. He went in for a heart something, and they said he doesn't have a heart. And he was put on a list for, his heart was basically disintegrated, if you will. He was put on a machine to see if we can get him healthy to give him a heart transplant. He was a good person for it, but he didn't make it. His diabetes was so out of control. So I said, I got to stop. If I want to live to 147 and a half, I have to stop. And that's something I really want to point out here. You got to learn to forgive yourself. I walked into this battle, and it was a battle. I walked into it with a whole baggage of bad habits. And I'm using the word bad judiciously. Not I'm bad, but the habits were not in my best interest any longer. So I think it's called neurosis, when you're using past stuff to help you now and it's not working. Forgive yourself. How many times did I eat the entire pound of chili? Okay, it took me 2 hours, but I ate the entire, and I just went, okay, tomorrow you just won't do that. You got to forgive yourself. I think that's like super important.
That's the number one. Love yourself.
Yeah.
Forgive yourself. Put yourself first.
Absolutely.
You mentioned that, right?
Yes, you have to. You absolutely have to, because come on, I did weight loss surgery and that didn't work for me. I couldn't believe it. It worked for others and I'm so glad for them. I don't begrudge anybody their successes, but I thought I was following everything the doctors were telling me. And even today, when I just saw my endocrinologist, she still wants to keep in touch with me once a year. You're still not eating carbs, huh? Yeah, sorry. And then I started recently using that term. We have essential amino acids. We have essential vitamins. Name me one essential carb. Give me a paper. Give me a doctor's name. Give me a study that hasn't skewed it. God, if I met Ansel, what was his name?
Ansel Keys.
Thank you, Ansel Keys, the one who, oh my God, what I would do to that man's ego. Can you imagine wanting to be so popular that you would demonize something that the entire history of mankind has shown did not lead to obesity? And we had sugar and now we're all obese. Come on. We got countries we send America over to and then they get fat. Come on. let's look at this stuff. So I don't know what else do you want me to tell you. I can tell you about anything.
No. I have two questions for you. The first one I would like to hear from your side. And when I show you the title, which is again, it's a clickbaity title, and now I'm afraid that you're gonna stop watching us. You mentioned, okay, part of that weight loss involves some medications.
Oh,
So,
yes.
Can you give us kind of a brief update on the list of interventions that you did to get from 259 to 150?
Okay. So a really brief summary is, Weight Watchers, AIDS, Optifast, Atkins, grapefruit, vegetable soup diet, vegetarian, vegan, Dexatrim, and all of those ilk, and Overeaters Anonymous. And then finally, the stomach stapling. And probably a whole lot that I didn't even mention. The Januvia, which is similar, I think, as an agonist blocker, or I don't know how they're called, but was the first that I heard of. So they put me on it, and it suppressed my appetite. And I didn't know that, and dropped 40 pounds, 250 to 290. Come on, Rena, you know math. 50 pounds. And then I was at 240 for the rest of my adult, like from the late 50s till I started keto. I was at basically 240 to 250. I don't know if this works for anyone else, but I stopped taking the medications. I chose, and I said, I'm gonna let everything be open and see if keto will reduce my A1C. That was my biggest concern. And so I stopped the metformin, and I stopped the Crestor, because all I ever heard was, you're a woman over 60. You need to be on 40 milligrams of a statin. I once asked a heart doctor, do you even know my name? Because that's all he ever said was, you're a woman over 60. So that's why I found you, thankfully. Finding you was an amazing experience, because we never should have connected on that telephone. And I'm so glad we did. So medicate. Oh, yes. Oh, thank you. Medications help. They should not be poo-pooed. They should be used. I don't need any more now. I mean, I'm on my fish oil, and I'm taking my baby aspirin, my 2 milligrams of the pitavastatin. I take vitamin E, 5,000 units.
Vitamin D, yes. D3.
Vitamin D with the K2. And Prozac, because, why not? I have anxiety. I have anxiety issues. I tell you, I'm not afraid to share. I'm not.
Yeah.
All right.
I can tell you, people that have anxiety, because, well, I mean, it's a condition that can wreck your life if you allow it to, and that have some kind of OCD conditions as well. Those people also have some smile advantage on regards to their health, because they will be a little bit more, will do a little bit more extra mile thing to get to where they have to do. They do a little bit more research, do a little bit more of the stuff that the general folk won't do. And I wanted to point out on the medication side, not because we push medications that much. We're not a big pharma or anything, but you bring on a good point and an example on a lot of people are like, no, you don't need to take that Ozempic thing, because after you just stop taking it, you're going to gain all that weight that you lost. And it's about your lifestyle. So
there you go
for you. And then if you are doing your right lifestyle, you're not going to need it anymore. And that you are a clear example of that.
Do you know how long that took me to learn? Every single weight loss program I was on produced weight loss. I was done. Now I can eat. lifestyle change. No, there's no extraneous food because I am a foodaholic. There's no extraneous food in my house. If you go to my kitchen right now, my refrigerator will have celery, butter, olives, pickles, and I do have my chicharrones.
Chicharrones.
Yes, for the fat.
Chicharrones.
Chicharrones.
Yeah, really good.
I'm sorry, but
No,
I
no,
keep
that's
those.
okay. That's okay. Yeah.
Those are not trigger foods. Okay, so those are not trigger foods. Right now, I do have a thing of chili sitting in my fridge because I made it this morning in the crock pot. I am confident I will eat as much as I need, and then I'm going to freeze the rest really, really fast. Because I'm not as prone to put it in the microwave and defrost it. So I know my trigger foods, I keep them out of the house, and I lived like that, rehab style, for about 18 months. And I used to have the best time. I'd get up and I'd say, oh, I need to go to the supermarket. I need an avocado. And then this brain side would say, yeah, and don't forget picking up the ice cream. And then I'd go, okay, well, then get off your sneakers and go back into the bedroom and do something else. You can't even, I couldn't fight my own wanting to cheat. You know, oh, I have to go to the supermarket. Oh, really? Yeah, there was no sneaking stuff by anymore. So that helped a lot.
I'm glad you got back to that, Raina, because as I listen to your story, I hear, yeah, we tried surgery, we tried medications, we tried a whole bunch of different weight loss programs, and they all worked to some extent or another, but nothing really worked until I dealt with the addiction issues and a whole lot of focus on what's up here and dealing with a lot of behavior issues for you. So I appreciate you getting back to that and sharing it.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I think anyone who might be suffering from any of this stuff, reach out, because there are people, they really, really want to help you. But I will again say, you have to do it for you. And you have to say to yourself, this is sustainable. And don't believe the people that are now leaving keto and saying, no, it's not. It's been 3 years for me. And do I look like I'm hungry? Well, do I look like I'm hungry? I don't know. My mother might say I do. I think I look fantastic. So I got to tell you, one of the biggest things that helped me was the fact that I wasn't hungry anymore. That fat adaptation. It's remarkable that I could go a day or two. I also do intermittent fasting. I'm predominantly 1 meal a day because I find that on the days when I do feel a little bit more like I want to eat something, so I will go and start my food intake, let's say at 2:00 in the afternoon, the floodgates have opened. And then I will be hungry at 3:30. And then I'll be hungry, not hungry, mental hungry. And I'll take a nibble at 5 and I'll take a nibble at 6. The evenings are my worst. So 1 meal a day really works for me. 2 meals a day, if I'm going to go out to lunch with someone, I'll have some eggs. And then I'll come home and eat my major meal later. But that was very key for me because I am still fighting addiction to food. And I might have to all my whole life, and that's okay. You make her a partner. She's not. The concept of I want to eat exists. My addiction exists. I have an addictive personality. Okay. She's my partner and she comes along with me in life, and I'm the adult and I'm in charge. And yeah, I hear you. You want the avocado because that's really the keto, but yeah, no. Thank you for sharing. Lots of therapy really, really helps.
So I'm hearing a lot of themes here. Lifestyle, you tried a whole bunch of stuff, but you got to get back to lifestyle. Fat adaptation is a key component.
Oh,
Electrolytes when fasting, OMAD, 1 meal a day, and recurring theme of dealing with addictive behaviors.
yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's it in a nutshell. Is that I live alone, so it's easy for me. I can control my whole house. I have friends that don't live alone, and I'm their support system. And it's hard, but you again go to number one, which is you put yourself first. I don't even crave carbs anymore. I don't crave fruit. Oh, okay, I'm lying there. I could really, really go into a watermelon. Not going to happen. But I don't crave specific foods. I thought I would. I don't. If I really want pizza, I just take some Rao's sauce. I throw some cheese on it. I throw some pepperoni on it, and I eat it out of a bowl. It's pizza. You got to change the fact that this is a whole new lifestyle, and this is very, very sustainable.
Definitely. Now, I'm sorry. We need to go to the Q&A section, Dr. Brewer. We have a lot. We'll
Yes,
have
that's
some
where I
questions
was
for
going
Rena,
to
if
say
that's
too.
okay.
Any last statements before we go into Q&A, Rena?
And I did my arms.
Oh, congratulations. They look great.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about that
The
a
scar,
few
you
months
can
ago.
see it.
Look at that.
Yeah. And I did my thighs, but I'm not pulling down my pants for you people. But you can show them the pictures I sent you. That's okay.
Somebody was
And-
asking about that a few minutes
Yep.
ago. What happens with your skin? And people that
It-
lose that kind of weight end up having to go through, they start saving their money to say, okay, I got to get rid of these wings. I got to get rid of some of this.
Yep.
So
Yep. My
congratulations.
thighs look
It looks
beautiful.
great.
My arms look beautiful. And the last thing I'm going to do is tighten up my tummy.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. You've shared, you've inspired a lot of people. A lot of people
I
are
hope
really
so.
reacting. I hope you can stay around for some of the Q&A because I think
Absolutely.
you're going to get some questions.
Sure.
I'm
So-
gonna
Go
going
ahead,
to start off the Q&A with a couple of questions of my own. I know, Jesus, you mentioned the Texas event. A lot of people have been saying, guys, can you come out west? Can you come out west? Okay, so we're coming out west. I have to tell you, it was a big experience for me in a couple of ways. When we've done these in the past, it was very much a one-man show. I was doing most of the presentations and then doing most of the question answers and then most of the evaluations. We'll talk about that in a minute. People think this is a conference, even the term, so we got rid of the term conference. Then we're using summit. It should be pop-up clinic or experience. One of the things that I wanted to ask you was you and Jeannie were both big stars of the event. Can you tell me a little bit about what your experience was like for it?
I'll yield to
Me?
Jeannie.
You to Jeannie. I thought it was really a great event. The thing about it was that everybody that was there was able to interact with. Everyone had a common goal, and so everyone, talked to each other, and there was a lot of interaction, and there was just a lot of learning. And we adapted as we went along at the event and saw what was better presentation styles and the way we did things. So we made changes as we went, and I think our next one's going to be even better. And Dr. Brewer, I know you were very pleased with the outcome of the one that we all went to, but I think the next one may be even better.
I'm sure.
And I will say we all learn. I learned a lot during the summit the last time. I I enjoyed making a fool of myself during that show, and a lot of people like that. And
They did.
there's different aspects for different people. Jeannie, Heather, and yourself, that who are the providers of the practice, got to see a lot of people. A lot of people learn not just the overall information, but learn a lot about themselves, and a lot of them came to become a patient from Dr. Brewer, Jeannie, or Heather, on the long term basis.
Mhm.
So there's a big opportunity to change your life. If you're new to all this content, this is a good way to start. If you're not that new but you want to learn more, this is a good way to do it as well.
And one other thing I wanted to say is that Dr. Brewer was gracious enough to let me kind of run a little bit more with the women issues that are not the same as the male issues. And so we did that. And I think that was very eye-opening too. There was a lot of wives that came with a lot of the husbands. And then even after the conference, they would talk to us or even became patients because, it's just important for everyone. But I think when it connects, even with Rena's story and different things, it connects, with a different group of people, and women, face these same struggles, and they've dealt probably with more diets and more on the struggle bus than a lot of men have. And I'm not trying to say that one way or the other. It's just that the hormones and the other things that come into play in women's lives that, and Dr. Brewer has been gracious enough to let us kind of delve into that too. So thanks for that.
Well, thank you. And thank you for your participation with it. I'm reminded of the comment. I started to make a comment about boomer men, and Jeannie interrupted me to say, well, wait a minute. How do you define boomer? I think you were wondering if I consider myself a boomer. Clearly I am. I think I'm in the highest, I'm 66, and I think that was like the peak of the boomer ages. So what is boomer? Down to about 60 now or something like that?
I think 58 or 59 is the cutoff. I think 66 was if you're born in 66, I think, or 67, isn't that the end of it?
Maybe. And if you're listening and you're thinking, what's a boomer? I'm not even sure that I want to define that for you if you don't know. But the reason, or if you're wondering why we brought that up. So boomer men were taught never cry. You don't cry. And we usually get this, and we had that a couple of times at this event where a couple of boomer men started crying right there in front of a bunch of other people. And you ask, well, why does that happen? Well, here's why it happens. With one of them, it was because he was there. He was getting tuned up himself, figuring out how to prevent his own cardiovascular issues. And his wife came with him. And he was very much emotionally invested in making sure that she was around with him. The other one was just got upset a couple of times, very excited about having access to the kind of event where you can hear what actually causes heart attack, stroke, risk, see it in terms of your own information. And then actually deal with it. So what happens with these is you register, you get a lab slip from us, lab orders, and then you go through the experience. You look at your own oral glucose tolerance test results. You go through your own insulin response results, your own lipids and lipid fractionations. You begin to see how, yes, cholesterol may be impacted when you have metabolic disease, and actually how that filters right on through into your triglyceride over HDL ratio, how it's decreasing your HDLs, it's chewing up your HDLs because you're having some carb problems, some insulin resistance, how that's creating problems with your LDLs. Some people, finding out how they've got a whole bunch of empty pizza boxes, as Jesus would say, because they're lean mass hyperresponders, and they've switched from a carb type metabolism to much more of a fat adapted metabolism, like Rena talked about a couple of times today. And that change in metabolism resulted in their own body changing dramatically and just having a lot of pizza boxes or LDL particles, but not so much of the triglycerides floating around in them. So it's a big opportunity to discover a whole lot of things that most doctors just don't know in terms of cardiovascular risk and having a long and healthy lifespan. So thank you for both of your contributions. Jesus,
I did want to say, can I say one thing, Dr. Brewer?
Absolutely.
We know how we talk about all the time, the lab makes, we always educate our patients because the lab makes mistakes on the OGTTs.
Mm-hmm.
I had mine done this week, and there was a lab tech in Panama City Beach named Shai, and it was perfect. So I just wanted to say that.
Excellent. Well, I think we've cut those problems in half with your program of saying, okay, you know what? Let's talk to the patient before they get their labs. Let's tell them what's likely to happen. And let's Rena's a sixth grade teacher. You just stop before you let them get your blood and say, here's what usually happens. You've never seen this before. Here's how we can avoid it. And it's made a huge impact on the way our labs are coming in. So again, thanks for your contribution in that space as well.
So I'm gonna take over now.
Uh-oh. Answer Nazi's back.
Well, I don't want people to think that this is all about advertisement. We need to provide some content, and
I want people to be able to save their lives, though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Your followers know what you're here for. We support you. Unfortunately, we become the silent majority. And that's sad. I wish we would make more noise, but we know what you're about.
And one thing that I have seen is boomers and other generations are kind of becoming a little bit more of millennial and Gen Z on the side of not wanting long content. They want the answer right away. So we're trying to appeal.
This is moving us along. There we go.
Yeah. So Rogue Rain, new member, thank you so much. I saw a message around here. Let me try to find it real quick. Somebody asked, "Hey, I joined your YouTube channel. I don't see the benefits." And I was like, okay, well, we always say the benefit is basically your question getting answered first. And we have some questions for Rena, which I'll be gracious and get some questions even if you're not a YouTube member. But this is Truth Reigns. What's all this about, right? What's the benefit? Well, Truth Reigns, let's address one of your questions first. Join late. Is PrevMed endorsing high-fat, low-carb diet with good lifestyle? A good idea for one with atherosclerosis, plaque in your arteries, calcium score almost 700 with some evidence of carotid effects as well. I'm guessing that's a CIMT test that found plaque. So, Dr. Brewer, do you endorse high-fat, low-carb diet?
I do endorse the low-carb diet. Here's the problem. Once we're age 18 and above, half of us have a problem digesting or metabolizing carbs. We don't tend to know that. That was in the most recent NHANES, National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey. So if you can't burn carbs, your body goes down a really bad cycle. Your insulin values your blood sugars start going up. And when your blood sugar goes up, your insulin goes up. When insulin goes up, then you can't burn fat. So what starts as a problem burning carbs very quickly turns into a problem burning both fuels. So yes, I don't just recommend that everybody stop eating carbs. There's a lot of people on the internet that do that. Yeah. What I recommend is that you first assess the situation, understand if your body is able to metabolize carbs. And most of us can. It's just not quite as much as we think. So the standard American diet with 200 and 300 grams of carbs per day, most of us can't really do that many. So you need to know how many you can eat and then go there.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
I agree.
Thank you, Dr. Brewer. Next one is for Rena. Woody Woodring. Great story. Thank you for sharing. What was your biggest challenge? Finding the right information, motivation, self-discipline? What was it, Rena?
I'm very impatient. My biggest challenge was letting this unfold as it needed to. I started keto April 15th, 2020, and I expected to be cured by April 16th, 2020. So I found for me it was impatience and the thinking of food all the time, the thinking of it all the time. So I got very, very busy and try to get out of the house as much as I can. That was it. I needed to divert myself.
Definitely. And Woody as well, asking you, how long did you track your food and use the CGM, the continuous glucose monitor?
I tracked my food for a good 18 months, and then I just started recognizing what a pound of this looks like, what half a pound of this looks like. So I stopped tracking, and then since I don't take in any carbs, I don't worry about carbs. And the only thing I try to do is balance my fat intake because I still want to burn about 10 more pounds on me. So I don't want to give my body too much fat so it won't use the fat in my body. So I'm learning how to eat leaner and add a little fat for satiety and then let my body do the rest. I hope that helps.
I think it does. And do you have any plaque? That's
CBD?
Woody's question. Yeah, basically any plaque. That's what Woody's asking for.
Oh, yeah. When I first went in for a CAC test, I had like a 503 reading, and I was like, ah! So I got Dr. Brewer, and he said, okay, let's do a CIMT, and we're going to do another CAC, and we're going to do this and that and the other thing. And then my number went to 900, and he went, no, that's good. And I was like, okay. And I researched, and he's right. Everything's settled. My intima's doing well. Everything is, that means, if I'm correct in understanding, it's calcified. So we don't have to worry about that floating stuff because I'm not going to aggravate any of that floating stuff in my arteries. So I'm right now in not the lowest APO group. I'm in the middle one, but I'm low middle. So we watch.
Sounds wonderful. And we have some encouragement here. This is Penelope Wild. Thank you so much for this live chat. Give us a lot of hope, which is what we want to do. Bart Robinson, it's congratulating you. Gracie is asking, how tall are you? Can you repeat that?
5'5".
How long did it take you to lose that weight? Can you give us a number of years?
It was actually quite quick. April 15th, 240. By April of 2021, I was at 160 and stayed at 160. Oh, God, stayed at 160 for about a year until I met you, Dr. Brewer. And you said, hey, as long as you're losing weight, why don't you try a little more? Because it's true about the BMI. And I want to live. So I said, well, let's see what happens if I just eat a little less. And I didn't die, and I was satisfied, and I made it to 150. So an easy year, 240 to 160, and then 160 to 150 was like 2 to 3 months, but it happened.
Thank you. So I agree with Gracie. Very inspiring. Literally, I am very powerful story. Chris Link is mentioning. I don't think we're gonna be able to answer this, but says finding a doctor is my biggest issue. What is Blue Cross Blue Shield?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
can't seem to find a doctor in a network that doesn't try to force the ADA guidelines.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of those guidelines are, doctors are, they don't want to be sued. So
They
you gotta
don't
do
know
what you gotta
better.
do.
They don't know better. I'm very fortunate. I'm a retired teacher, so I have a pension, and I'm paying doctors out of pocket. And I just save up the money for those doctors' visits. I visit with Dr. Brewer, and I visit with Dr. Saivez. Those are my two. And then I have my primary, who I sort of just go to because I like her. But I'm sorry. I feel my heart breaks for people that can't do that. Before I had Brewer or Saivez, I just would listen to my doctor, go home and just do what I knew was right. And if I wasn't right, my body would tell me.
Definitely. Chris Linky pointed out the carbs, no essential carbs there exist. Chris Linky, when I first went on keto 2020, my A1C was 13.4 months later. At my next checkup, it was 5.4. But I think he said never such a quick turnaround. And Dr. Brewer likes to quiz any new member of the PrepMed team with this question: what is the number one cause of dropping A1C? It's a low carb diet.
Carbs. Yeah.
No wonder.
Carbs convert to sugar. Sugar converts to sugar. Stop it. Your body doesn't need it. Your liver produces all the glucose that you need for your day. 2 tablespoons. Everything else, you don't need it.
Yeah. Thank you, Jamie K. Kudos to PrepMed, and especially Rena. Thank you so much for sharing your history. Excellent show. Fabulous guest.
Oh,
And this one, Woody pointed out, real important
yeah.
to forgive yourself.
yeah.
And somebody asked about loose skin. As Dr. Brewer said, you got that fixed out as well. And I see Dr. Brewer like kind of under the water answering questions here and there. So I won't touch those ones.
I always do that. See, Jesus is the answer Nazi. He won't give you an answer unless you join the group. But I'll try to give you an answer, type one in for you while he's not looking.
Dr. Brewer, do you have any thoughts on fruit if you're a pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic?
Yep. So we actually, if you'll ever get this Nathan video out, it's got a lot of this stuff in it. We talk about fruits. Fruits, you know, I'll give you a spoiler. It's top 10 most dangerous foods that people keep eating. And one of them is fruits.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with fruits, I mean, I expect I'll get a whole lot of hater comments about that. But we have too many people saying, oh, eat your fruits and veggies, and fruits are healthy, fruits are healthy, fruits are healthy. So people think about that and they translate it in, well, that means apple juice is healthy. That means that 3 glasses of orange juice with my instant oatmeal is healthy every morning, and my cereal. And that means that watermelon is healthy. Rena, I love watermelon too. It's just fantastic. And then they talk about the citrulline in watermelon, so it's got to be great. And all I would say is, you know, again, these same people that are doing that, you know, mangoes, apples, bananas. Jesus, you got me started there, buddy. So these same people, again, don't realize that they may not be able to burn the metabolize the glucose in there, and that's just the glucose. That's not even talking about the fructose in there, and then the fructose is going straight into the liver, mainlining into some problems there. So you just got to be careful. Fruits can be great, but the safest fruits are usually just more of the berries: blackberries, blueberries, raspberries. You just got to know what you can eat, and then know what you can eat and eat that. Don't eat beyond.
And one of the best things I've ever heard, and I love this statement from every single one of the doctors that I follow and influencers, is no food should be demonized.
Right.
Because carbs are not the enemy. They don't work for me. That's all.
Just stole my
Personally.
just stole my thunder, Rena. I was gonna play devil's advocate because when I started with Prema and Dr. Brewer and seeing the research and discussing and everything, I once said one apple a day doesn't keep the doctor away, and I stand by that. But there are two things to consider on fruits, and that's when Dr. Brewer said, just choose the right fruit for you: fiber and polyphenols. And then we started researching smoothies, fruit smoothies. Turns out if you do a smoothie with fruit and you include the seeds on that fruit, all that stuff in a smoothie, it doesn't impact your blood sugar as much as a juice or even eating the raw fruit. It was really interesting to see those findings on the research. And a lot of research says fruits are healthy for pre-diabetic and people with type 2 diabetes in general. The thing is, know yourself, know your body, eat to the glucometer, identify which ones spike your blood sugar because everybody's going to be different. That's my whole deal with the glycemic index. The glycemic index, to me, it's a good reference, but it doesn't apply the same way for everybody. You will have people that oatmeal will spike the blood sugar, and other people that oatmeal won't spike the blood sugar that much. And probably for most people it will. But it's knowing yourself. And you got me started now, Dr. Brewer.
I'm glad I did. Howie made the same point. Howie said, look, I'm a type 2 diabetic. I'm in the 5.0 club, meaning his A1C is 5.0 and below. And he said, look, I can't eat berries either, guys.
Yeah.
So you got to know what you can eat and be healthy. Eat what you can eat. Don't eat what you can't eat.
And if you do have an addictive personality, know your triggers.
Oh,
I still will.
Yeah.
I'll still indulge in a Nick's ice cream. Nick's keto ice cream is delicious, and my blood glucose does not go up. But I know if I bring one home, I will eat the whole carton. And by the way, love every minute of it, because if you're gonna do it, you might as well enjoy it.
Yeah.
But that's a rarity. Like once every 2 to 3 months, I'll do that.
Definitely. And I would like to close the show with two things. Well, first thing, we have a new member, Paul Brown. Thank you, Paul. We know Paul. Paul Brown. Let me show it on the screen real quick. Paul Brown. I'm surprised he just became a YouTube member. He is the one that's guilty that I went to the latest event.
Oh, that's
He's the one who
right.
convinced Dr. Brewer to pay the big bucks and get me into the US. So
Yeah, Paul.
What he didn't know is I'd tried to get Jesus to go anyway, and Jesus was being bashful and shy. Oh, you guys don't need me. And again, like I said, Jesus and Jeannie were stars of the show. So thank you, Paul. You got Jesus up there.
And I had a question from another YouTube member. I apologize. I put it in. Basically, they were asking, Rena, how many calories a day are you eating?
I have no idea. I'm sorry. I don't know. I eat between 6 ounces and 8 ounces of meat a day.
That is so interesting.
I don't know. Don't really care.
You don't have to. Exactly.
It used to be. When I started, I started at 1,200. And then I said, well, I'm not eating up to 1,200. Okay, so let me go to 1,000. And then I said, why do I have to care where I go? Why don't I just eat till I'm done eating? But in the beginning, remember, I was eating up to get those calories. And that's eating like a fathead. So I just said, let me just eat till I'm full.
Yeah.
And that'll be enough.
Sorry
about that.
Some closing remarks on that, because that opens a whole can of other topics, but you might want to just summarize this, and then we need to wrap up.
You're talking about me?
Yeah, you're sure.
No, go ahead. Why don't you do that this time?
He said summarize. You can't go to me because I won't summarize anything. So it's got to be either you or him.
So I think the problem with calories is a lot of people, especially at the beginning, if they're following a traditional nutritionist, they will tell you, this is the X amount of calories, get X amount from carbs, X amount from protein, X amount from fat. That's the traditional view. Everything in moderation, somebody said on the chat, right? And then you realize that you focus only on calories in, calories out. That's just incomplete. And a lot of people lose weight on that. A lot of people won't. Then
Right.
we go to the second way of thinking, which is carbs and insulin, which is what you did, Rena. So carbs and insulin, to us, more powerful model than calories in, calories out.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
to say calories doesn't matter, because you still can gain weight on a carnivore diet. You just eat too much. But it's more important how your body metabolizes carbs. Then you got Robert Lustig. He published a new article a few weeks ago, and he said there are two other ways to explain this, not just calories and carbs and insulin. It's the obesogens model. So one is your mitochondria being stressed out, creating a lot of oxidation. That I will link that a lot with insulin as well. And the fourth model is the environment. Everything else that is around you, that is not necessarily anything that you eat, but that is impacting the way your body fat works, and it's making you fat as well. So it's easier than just eat less, move more. It's not as easy as eat less and move more.
No.
It's more complicated than that. And it starts with the 5 hacks that Rena brought up to us that involves a lot of self-experimentation, self-knowledgement, know more about this stuff, keep yourself hydrated with electrolytes, and love yourself and put yourself first.
Yeah.
Good summary.
Very good.
Thank you.
It's a great show. Thank you
Thank
so much,
you.
Raina, for sharing your story.
Thank you so much for letting me. Yay. This is like real exciting.
Great.
Awesome. Well,
Okay.
let me hype the next show. Next week we have Dr. Lou Ignaro, who he just discovered nitric oxide. That's it. So we're gonna talk about nitric oxide next week. Stay tuned.
Dr. No,
Dr. No.
nitric oxide. Thanks for your interest.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.